Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to today's conversation on Gift of Healing TV. I'm Sarah Jane, and I am delighted to be joined by my co-hosts and our guest. I'll start with my co-host, David. David, hi.
Good evening and welcome everybody, and welcome Jodi.
And Scott. Scott, welcome.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
And I'm going to ask you to introduce Jodi as Jodi, and our program this evening as Jodi is your guest.
Why, thank you very much. I want to introduce everyone to Jodi St Onge. She is a certified Theta Healer instructor. I know because I've been a student of hers 3 times. Energy Master Healer and teacher, spiritual medium, and psychic. And by the way, I've taken advantage of all of those skills that she has, and she is absolutely amazing. Jodi really wants to talk about Theta Healing and how it has impacted her life and how it might be able to help everyone else. Jodi, thank you for showing up.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Scott. Thank you, Sarah, David. It is an absolute pleasure to be on here with all of you from all over the world. I feel like here we are, we're touching each other through this amazing webinar. It's just fantastic. And I love Scott. He's fantastic. And it's been an absolute amazing journey. I love Theta Healing. I don't even know really where to start. I mean, it's been an incredible journey from just personal transformation within myself and also within others that I've helped to facilitate for them. So where shall I begin?
Well, start and just let people know what Theta Healing, what it is and what it means and what it looks like.
So Theta Healing was founded by a woman named Vienna Steibel. She is originally from Idaho Falls in Idaho, the United States, and she's now in Montana. And this was not something that she intended to do. Back in the early 90s, she was diagnosed with a very rare form of bone cancer. And she knew she had a purpose, and she would meditate and she would pray and she would hear, Vienna, you know what you need to do, now heal your leg. And she still didn't understand that at that time and would say, okay, Creator, what do you mean? Heal my leg. And she miraculously healed herself of this 9-inch tumor that was growing off of her femur. The doctors did not have a great prognosis for her because they did not have enough experience with this type of cancer. And she just knew that she could heal herself. And she had gone through, if you go on her website for www.thetahealing.com, she has some videos on there, and her personal journey and story is on her website. And it's also in her book, the Theta Healing book, which I do have a copy of it somewhere, which I could grab for you to show you. But she miraculously cured her leg, and she had gone back to her doctors, and she got the medical community involved because this was extraordinary. It was absolutely extraordinary. So every one of us, we all know Theta Healing is about the theta brainwave. And inside each of our bodies, we have all of these little cells working together in concert, forming the material form of your amazing self. All of our organs, everything is working together perfectly. And inside our cells, we have our DNA, and in our DNA, there are markers. And so Vienna found that when we go into the theta brainwave, that we have the ability to access the creator of all that is. And she likes to call this the God wave. And it's a miracle wave. And when we as practitioners go into this brainwave, we have the ability to connect to the highest consciousness in all of the universe on your behalf and we request a healing for you. And we receive a lot of information. We can be trained to see inside the body, to talk to your body, to talk to your cells. I can talk to your liver, your kidneys. I have talked to everywhere in people's bodies. It's quite incredible. And it's amazing what we store in our own, just from our day-to-day life, from every experience that you've ever had, what we store in our body, from anger to fear to regret, resentment. And she found, Vienna did, that when we access this, we can heal our bodies.
So
now,
if I may, just a question is how do you access? My goodness.
So Vienna had created.
How do you access the body?
Well, I access the Creator through a guided meditation that was created by Vienna. But I imagine myself going down into the earth, growing roots. I imagine that I'm gathering up all of that beautiful earth energy and having it come into the body, allowing it to rise up into each and every cell, every fiber, up, up, up. And then I visualize going up beyond the universe to the Creator of all that is. And when I feel that I've reached there, which there is a feeling that every practitioner experiences, this feeling of warmth, a feeling of love, and just this presence that you can't quite understand, but you can feel it, and you're there, and there you just we become the witness, and the healing happens. I always tell everybody, I can't make this stuff up, what comes up for people. As a healer and practitioner myself, I have witnessed miracles, like absolute miracles, from tumors disappearing, neuropathy completely healing. I had a lesion on my T2 vertebrae that it disappeared in a second, and gallstones heal. I've worked on a lot of things, and a lot of different patients or clients with different illnesses and ailments, and it's always amazing. You can lose weight on Theta Healing. I mean, you can bring in abundance. You can call in your soulmate. You can release all of the blocks that you feel might be present, and then they're just shift it. So it brings in such a better state of consciousness, but personal well-being, less anxiety, happier, walking around the world with a smile on your face. At least that's me.
It absolutely is you, and you're among very good company. You have here two other people who just are brilliant and lovable and exude that love. And Sara, do you have any question?
Well, I was just sort of thinking about you saying, because one of the things I do on a daily basis is actually put my roots down into the earth, but I also send my branches up to source and invite in the energy from earth to and through my heart to source, and the reverse. And that's just a daily exercise, and it's just one I do. It's not one that I feel I've been told to do, but I will say that it started because when I started with Reiki and started with all the meditations and everything, I hadn't done anything like that before, but I suddenly thought, and I don't see things, I don't hear things. I'm one of these people, it's about knowing. I don't even necessarily feel things, but I was aware that I'd got lead boots. And all I wanted to do was go flying off the planet, sort of. It was just like, oh, let me go up there, please. Let's go out amongst the stars. And it was, but I was given these lead boots because it was about making me stay here. I'm meant to be here at this point in time. And so I actually said one day, if I promise to ground every day, please, can I get rid of these lead boots?
And did that work for you?
Absolutely. 100%.
Excellent.
But I do what I promised to do. In fact, I do it twice a day. And in fact, in the morning, I actually, having done that, bringing that energy up and then down, is expand that energy in my heart to touch the lives of all whose lives I touch. Because that's what it's about. That's what we are here for. We're not here to touch every life on this planet, although actually I do my best. But we are here to touch lives.
Yes.
And what is the only real healing energy? It's love. That's what Reiki is, the universal healing energy of love. And so I think this is the important thing. It is about love. When I learned quantum touch is about bringing in the energy of love. And I'm feeling what that you're talking about is about bringing in the energy of love. And the most important person for each and every one of us to love is ourselves.
That's correct.
We have to start with ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. And I do find with those that I have taught, I'm also a Reiki master as well. And I'd say about 99.9% of all people that come to me to learn, it's first about themselves. Oh no, it's only going to be about me. And then eventually they move on and they're ready to share it with the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely. David.
Yeah, this is a really interesting subject because I know I've got a couple of friends who do theta healing here, but I've never looked into it or had a session. So can you tell me as a client going in, whether this is purely a communication between you and my body to heal, or whether there's energy being sent or hands-on or anything like that? How does that come through, if that makes sense?
Oh, it makes absolute sense. So we are the conduit, as we are whenever you facilitate Reiki or any other healing modality. We're a conduit for the creator of all that is, for that beautiful universal life energy that flows through all things. And so as a practitioner in theta healing, you would sit across from me in a table, in a chair. And I don't need to touch you, so I can facilitate for clients all over the world. I just like seeing your beautiful face. And I do them on the phone as well. And what's most important is that both the practitioner and the receiver are very comfortable. There is a transfer of energy that occurs. And I do feel that is the natural progression of this theta healing as the practitioner goes up and we connect to creator on the person's behalf. We request the healing and then you as the recipient will experience that healing coming into your body, and you too will become a witness to your own healing experience as well as the practitioner. And then the healing occurs. And so every case is completely different. And I do like to hold your hands if I can. I find that I call it knee knocking, and I'll get really close to you where our knees are touching and I'm just holding your hands, and I close my eyes, you close your eyes. We go in, we do a little breath work, and I always state a prayer to the creator for the healing to occur in the highest and best way. And then I bring you up in using the meditation that's provided by Vienna. She likes us to follow her way. So I'm sure that I add my twist. I've been doing meditation for years. So I always add in my relaxation, breathing techniques, and then I bring them up there as well. I don't always do that, but it's all about the individual. So some people need a little bit more assistance to relax. And you are completely alert. You don't check out. Like in Reiki, the recipient checks out a bit and can go to sleep.
Yeah.
We are not going into that brainwave. The theta brainwave is just before dream state. And that is what we're getting you into. So you're still very conscious and aware. And as a practitioner, because there is the law of free will, and we do follow that guidance, we cannot ask Creator to change anything for you without your verbal permission. So everything needs to be verbalized, like, yes, please change that on my behalf. And then we'll go up to Creator and ask for it to be done. And then as the healing progresses, if healing, let's say, an instantaneous healing goes in, and occasionally the healing needs a little bit more. And we call these limiting beliefs, okay? Some people call in illness. We've seen this as practitioners. There is a benefit that someone receives when they're not well. Believe it or not, every experience that we have is teaching us something, as we know. And these are very valuable lessons, okay? Extremely valuable for our soul to progress. And so in Theta Healing, we'll go up. I might receive a belief system. This is the first belief systems I always make sure are in alignment anyways, is being worthy of God's love, okay? So for some, if you are raised Catholic, you might not carry a belief system due to the generations of that unworthiness that has been implanted into our DNA through the teachings of the Catholic Church. And I'm not minimizing the church at all. I was raised Catholic. I do believe in God, and I do ask Jesus to bless me every single day that I conduct this work. And we will muscle test. So if I receive worthy of God's love, it's like a knowing, it just pops in out of nowhere. And then we'll use kinesiology, and you will muscle test.
Explain what muscle testing looks like.
So we use a form of pendulum muscle testing generally, but we also use the finger muscle testing where you like open the fingers. Generally, we would stand up, face the north, and then close your eyes. We do a technique we call zipping up that energy, where our hands go on either side, standing facing the north. Then you say yes, your body will naturally move forward, especially if it's well hydrated. And then if it's a no, your body will rock back. Not everybody is exact. So some people for yes, they will rock back for yes. And then I will go up to Creator and I'll ask them, is it okay if I change your polarity? And I just flip that and they start muscle testing properly. And we check on 4 levels of the body. We believe the soul or the spirit, the body, we hold things on 4 levels. So we have a core, which is everything you've learned from birth until now. Then you have a genetic level, which is everything that's been passed down to you by your mom and your dad going back 7 generations on the genetic level. Beyond the 7 generations, we then move on to the history level, which is also where all of the ancestors and those beliefs are stored. And those are also, if you believe in past life, not everybody does, and it's their prerogative. I do believe in past lives. So I also believe like the past life experiences are on that history level as well. So we can use Theta Healing to go back in time, and I use a technique I call peeling back of layers. We dig and we can see where it began to heal it for you. And then you have a soul level, which are the deepest ingrained beliefs. Those are what make up your entire being, your person, your personality. And those belief systems are very powerful belief systems on the soul level. So if there is a belief that is, let's say, I'm worthy of God's love, no, and let's say it's on the history or the soul level, I know in an instant I'm going to have to dig. I know that there may or may not be a trauma associated with this. And when we face that, we just go ask for Creator to guide. I always ask Creator to guide me and ask that it's safe. So I will download Creator's teaching, definition, and perspective of what it feels like to know that it is safe to do the work that we're about to embark upon, and that the recipient receive this in the highest and best way, and that Creator guide me to what we like to call the bottom belief. And so belief systems stack on top of each other like building blocks. And so that's why we peel back. And once we reach that bottom belief, I'll ask you, do you want to keep this? And people always say, oh no, let's get rid of it. And I'll go to Creator and then ask Creator to make the change. And then we muscle test again and see if the belief system has changed. And it's seconds, minute. It's very, very quick. We witnessed that healing coming in so fast. And it's amazing. But a session is about an hour long. And roughly, you can have it in half an hour. I like the hours. We get into some good work in an hour.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
That's really fascinating. I now understand so much more about it. So thank you. It's triggering some things in here for me.
As it should. Yeah, I'll tell you, when I first was introduced to Theta Healing was back in 1998. And I loved my Reiki master, and I would walk into her house and she would have all of these beautiful certificates. She had a lot of them. And I said to her, what is this Theta Healing? And she goes, Jodi, it's just another modality. Don't worry about it. You're a Reiki master. You have your Karuna masters. You're a Shambhala master. Like, focus on like one thing at a time. And not that she poo-pooed it to me, but it was like out of sight, out of mind. And then back in 2010, 11, I was reintroduced to Theta Healing by another practitioner at a fellow circle. And I had a belief system that I was completely horrified that I had it. And she cleared it with Theta Healing. Thank goodness. And it was about my body, a very negative, ugly belief system, which a lot of women don't think they're beautiful. A lot of women, they rip themselves apart about the size of their body, things like that. My mom suffers from anorexia, so I have a lot. I had a lot. I had a lot. And I've changed a lot with Theta Healing. And I fell in love with it. And a friend of mine who was also a student in Reiki became a Theta healer. And he witnessed while I was facilitating at my Reiki clinics, which I ran for 12 years, and that I was going into the Theta brainwave while facilitating hands-on. And he said, don't you know you're doing Theta? I was like, I don't know. What is that? And when I worked on my stuff, holy cannoli, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what was there. And here I am doing everything, EFT. And even though I don't feel good about myself, I still love and appreciate myself. And I would do all these things, affirmations day after day. And in Theta Healing, you can change it like that. There is no more, it comes back later. Once it's done, it's done. The healing is complete, and it changes in your DNA so that future generations no longer carry this belief or whatever belief it was. It's like, and it continues. Every child born and every after and so on and so forth. So they will no longer, future generations in your bloodline, in your family, no longer have to deal with unworthy feelings. And isn't that beautiful?
So I'm going to attest to this because I've been a student of Jodi's. I've been through 3 of the courses for Theta. I use it in my practice. And not exclusively, but I use the techniques, and it is powerful stuff when you can hear yourself, and your body is listen. We always talk about listening to your body, right? I mean, in everything that we do, we talk about listening to your body. Of course, we ignore it half the time, but your body is telling you it knows best. And so when you're closing your eyes and you don't realize that you're answering in the affirmative or you're answering in the negative, you don't realize it. And some of the beliefs that you have about yourself, it shocked me. Oh, no, that couldn't possibly be. And my body told me, yes, I believed negative things, so many negative things about myself, about my upbringing, about my relationships that I did not think was possible. And in doing the Theta healing, she breaks it down so that you no longer believe those things, and it doesn't become a block anymore for when it doesn't come up.
It's gone.
Yeah, you're not triggered by those things that you were triggered by before, and that is the gift, truly, of Theta healing in that respect.
That's the miracle. So, short story, quick about you talking about the trigger. So, I had a friend of mine who drove up from Pennsylvania to see me once to receive Theta healing. And I'm not going to talk about her name or anything like that for anonymity purposes, obviously. But her daughter had passed, and she was suffering from PTSD really bad and really had a hard time if she heard an ambulance. Okay. And so she sat down. It was one Theta healing session. And I said, and I hadn't seen her in 20 something years. And I sat her down and I went up to Creator and asked Creator to change that, to release the trauma, to remove all free floating memories of trauma and of the siren and so on and so forth. And she left, and she had to drive like 7 hours back to Pennsylvania. And she said she wasn't sure because the way it was a very quick session, it's an hour, and everybody has a different level of sensitivity, they will say, oh, I felt a lot, or I didn't, or whatever. And they might not know, did it work? Right. And she called me and she says, oh my gosh, I woke up this morning and I'm sitting having my coffee and an ambulance went by, and it was the first time she didn't fall apart. She was like, oh, there's another ambulance, like it was nothing. No more fear, no more anxiety. It was gone. She had a miracle happen, and she still to this day is like, it's good. And that was probably back in 2018. It was just incredible.
Miss Sara.
That's just...
Carry on, David.
Sorry, I didn't interrupt. I didn't want to... I just want to say, I don't know when this was brought through this lady or when it happened. But I think there's a lot, because we are in the transitional period or whatever we are in this world at the moment. I've had a feeling for many years that we now have the tools to say we're not going to carry on with this generational acceptance of what's going down the road. And I felt that we're in this period now to say, okay, the buck stops here. We're not carrying all this forward anymore. And that's been kind of in my psyche for a while. So I don't know when all this Theta healing was brought through, but it may be tying 90s. In. Yeah.
Back in the early
And,
90s. So in the beginning of all that, and you're absolutely right. And Vianna says, and she always comes out with new material, new classes. Each class is on a different topic: soulmates, imperfect rhythm with your body, intuitive anatomy. But she says she receives it, and creator says, you can't put this out yet. They're not ready. Meaning the collective of all of us. And us as healers from, I don't know how long both of you have been facilitating energy healing. I know for Scott, but in the beginning, it was, it was a little hush hush in the early 90s when we started doing this work. People would look at you, oh, you're one of those. And now when you say, I'm a medium or I'm a healer, I facilitate Reiki, I conduct meditation, I love it. It's absolutely received. And it just changed. So I feel like absolutely now is the time. And this is why creator gave this to Vianna. And she had no intention of making it a modality. It's now being practiced all around the world. In like every single country, there are theta healers, and we are all raising the vibration of the planet. Every time we facilitate, we're raising that vibration, and that person, even if they don't have the belief work done like we have, and they haven't done all the work that we have, their body, their DNA is opening to receive those changes more than ever before, which I'm excited to see. Like being here during this time in our planet with the way that the consciousness is. And I just, it's such an exciting time.
I have really got a question here, because I work with sound. And the sound that I work with is actually toning. It's the voice. And that is channeled. It's just like, sometimes it's occasionally, excuse me, they are my vocal cords. It has to be. They haven't done that for a while. Maybe they just thought, we're doing that a bit too much. But when somebody said, no, that's not Sarah, she's channeling it, I thought, of course I am. I already do the Reiki. It was my Reiki master that introduced me to it. I've now created, because of that, it was just like, what can I call this? And it's a form of vocal Reiki, because I channel that energy. And I've had people say, I've had bones move under my hands with it. I've had people let go of water retention with it. I have had people sort of, that's the muscle in the neck and whatever, the tension has all gone away. Headaches and migraines don't appear that had started. The things that have happened with people with this energy, and I still see it as all as love, but they're saying sound, the vibration of sound. And I very simply put it this way. Our vibration, when it's out of sync, gives us our aches, pains, illnesses, ailments, stresses, and strains. With the energy of the right sound, the vibration of the right sound, it pulls our energy back into sync. Simplistically put, but when I had somebody say to me one time, and I'd worked on a muscle in their arm, and she said, my muscle felt it was being given permission to relax, so it did. So what I'm sensing here is that there are potentially different ways of bringing in this energy.
Yes.
That we're working, many of us are working with it, but it's not necessarily called the same thing.
I'd say yes. And I feel that for me, I'm also a sound healer, and I facilitate with sound bowls, and I've conducted toning as well. There is a technique in theta healing that we were taught, but I did the sound bowls and everything beforehand, and Vianna talks about the planes of existence. If it's okay, this will kind of butt up against your sound healing. So Vienna had taught us, which this makes sense to me, especially because I've done a lot of different types of healing modalities, from working shamanic style healings to Reiki to crystals, working with herbs and oils, sound healing, etc., 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 and quantum healing, things like that. And there are these planes of existence that all overlap each other at the same time, creating our world. So the first plane of existence is all, oh, look at how convenient. It's all the crystals, it's all the minerals in the earth. That's plane 1. Plane 2 is all of it's the elements, it's the plants, like sage. Okay? I love this sage. Oils, teas. We are in the 3rd plane because we have amino-based chains, so we heal a little different. Then there's the 4th plane, which is a lot of shamans are working out of the 4th plane. Okay, all of the Native American shamans, they're pulling in that energy of 4th plane healing, which is where all of our ancestors are. It's our loved ones in the spirit world. Mediums, 4th plane. 5th plane. Well, all you Reiki people out there, all access in the 5th plane. Just so you know, in case you didn't know, you're reaching it. Because that's the plane of duality. That is all of the angels, the ascended masters, all of our guides. Master Jesus is there as well. Mother Mary, Buddha, they're all there. Okay. 6th plane, my dear, is like what you focus in and listen and you're a master of the 6th plane in my book. Okay. Because the 6th plane is the plane of fix this. It's the plane of sound and sacred geometry and color and light, magnetism, all of the beautiful virtues, the laws of existence, like the speed of light. That's a law, the law of gravity, the law of attraction, compassion, right? Compassion's actually such it's a virtue, but it was made into a law, which is right there before the creator and the ultimate creator of all that is, that flows through all living beings, all people, every rock, every blade of grass, every petal, every ant, every bird, every fish, every mammal, even like created plastics. I hate to say it because we created here on Earth and we have to use Earth things to make it. It can flow through, which a long time ago I wouldn't believe, but that's the 6th plane. And then the 7th plane is all that is. And they're all working together. So when I became a theta healer, and I'm really excited about this, obviously, you can tell, I was so proud of my journey. Here I thought, I'm not settling for one thing, like Jodi, just pick one. No. I needed to master all of the planes of existence. And that's what I'm doing right now as a theta healer. And even though I don't overlap my sessions, like you're not going to come in and get Reiki and theta together at once. It would be a Reiki session and or a theta healing session done separately because they both work differently. And it's also important to Vienna that we don't change what she has created. And because she wants it to be exactly as she received it from the creator of all that is. But it is so fantastic. All of us. I remember I was like this I was like 20 years old studying my crystals. I knew about the crystals would heal. And it just evolved. Like, who knew? At 50, this is what I would have done. I had no idea, even though I've been facilitating hands-on healing since I was 5. It's been since I was 5. That I would be doing this for a living. Like, I thought maybe I'd be a nurse, or I wanted to be a physical therapist for a long time. But then I found out you have to dissect a human cadaver. And I said, well, forget that. And then I became a secretary and worked at the State House in Boston for a representative, and I learned politics. No, I'm a hippie. I don't belong in the State House, but that's okay. I was always a server and a bartender. I loved people. That's all I knew. But I love, Sara, the way that you talk about the sound, that tone, and we all hear it. Think about it. Our world is music. Everything is music, even if it doesn't sound pretty.
I think what we have to realize is that, for me anyway, there are many, many, many of us here at this time. We didn't have to come. We chose to come.
Yes.
Whatever level you want to perceive that you might be on the other side, it's totally immaterial. We're all here for a purpose.
Absolutely.
Many of us. And the one thing I have said for enough years now is everybody is special in their own unique way. No one is more or less special than anybody else. And that's really important as far as I'm concerned. Who I am away from Earth is totally immaterial. The important aspect for each and every one of us, and I know David works with sound as well. Yeah. The important thing is we are here, we have a purpose, we are here to use our voice, and the voice is something I did not have. My story is it goes right back to very early childhood, and I certainly didn't have a voice. I now more than have a voice, and I am very happy to use it, and it's really important. So it's helping people to find their voice, to be comfortable with themselves, to know, I was raised a Catholic as well, to know that you are absolutely meant to love yourself first. We increase our own energies as we step back out of our comfort zone. For me, is stepping back into ourselves.
Yes. And yes, I agree 100%. And I liked your little point about how we all have a role, like everything. There are so many healers, like there are theta healers, there are Reiki healers, there are quantum touch healers, there are magnified healers. And then there are those that are just the clerks, right? Someone that just works behind a desk. But one never knows how that little job to them, like people think, I don't have a great, it's nothing. But it is, because how do we know that the universe is so much greater than than us? And the purpose, like sometimes that's the job that you have, is to do it with pride and love, and be the best cashier and be the best, bartender or bus driver. Think about our bus drivers for our children, right? Oh my gosh. And they love our kids, and we trust them and let our babies go on these buses with these drivers that we don't know. But I remember my bus drivers, and I remember their love. They were the greatest people. And there were times, that there's something happens, and they're there to be the healer, to be the support, to be the anchor. And it's not just about title. I always believe, like, I'm just Jodi. What happens? That's creator. That's the miracle. I'm just the vessel. I'm the hollow reed, just like every other healer.
Could it? All right. The thought literally came to me, because we are all connected and we are all part of our creator. So therefore, it is the creator aspect of ourself that supports that healing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We create, we can manifest it.
David,
This has been really fascinating.
Something on your mind.
Yeah, can you see it ticking through?
Yes,
here?
I can. When it comes to you, it shows up very clearly. Yes.
Yeah, I can't hide anything. There was a couple of things, and that they come up during this conversation. I very much connect much in with nature. Just at the moment, I'm working. My work is taking me, my mediumship and everything is taking me into nature. And I'm trying to get people to slow down and connect back to nature. Is this really then also getting them to connect back to the creator and get rid of all the 3D rubbish that that we carry, that we've been programmed with? You know, it's another way. I've been working, like you say, the 1990s it started. That's when my Reiki journey started. So I've been working like this for 35 years. But now it's taking me into getting people into nature. Is that not, again, getting people in touch with the creator? This is a genuine question, you know? This is what's just come up. Are we being taken into getting people into a higher vibration and getting them away from this programmed world? And of course, I use my sound, my crystal grails out in nature as well. But it just, I just wonder if that's a thought for you, genuine question.
Yes, I believe that creator guides each of us. And I feel, and I apologize for that alarm, that it is every single person, like learning about nature and all the things, all the people that you can teach. Like some people, that's all that they understand is nature. And if that's what it takes to have someone like you teach them, you know, Mary Jo down the road who has a hard time with anxiety. And I believe every time we take a minute, we are we're all connected anyways. So I believe that I'm connected to you, even though I'm in the United States. And I believe we're also connected to every single person, every being, that there is no time and space. And so I feel like the consciousness, the collective is like, it's time to do something with people. Let's like get them let's get them outside so that they can remember what it was like to be at peace or at one with the creator of all that is, that feeling of oneness. And I feel that all the healing modalities teach that. Every single one. And when we become one with the creator, no matter what it is, that's when the miracle occurs.
If I can.
If I answered that correctly, I hope so, David.
Yeah, thank you.
Brilliantly, yes. One of the things you had us do, one of the exercises was when you had us touch plants. You said, go talk to a tree. And I forget whether it was the first, second time that we went through this. And I was like, you've got to be a little bit nuts to be talking to a tree. So I went and I actually, it was Christmas time and there were poinsettias. And I said, oh, okay, I'll talk to this poinsettia. So I just sat there holding these two leaves. And
I remember.
It started telling me that, oh, we're always dry. I'm thirsty. They never water us. I can't believe we're here. I was in this beautiful, beautiful greenhouse, and now I'm here in this lobby, and they don't feed us. So before I went back into class, I went to the front desk at the hotel we were at, and I said, could you do me a favor? She said, what's that? I said, could you water the poinsettias? And I didn't tell her that I was talking to her, obviously. But as we were leaving, they were getting watered, and I just kind of gave it a thumbs up. It brought me to when I was in India last year. We were in this beautiful, beautiful old forest, and I had this. I kept calling it, and this huge tree was there, and I just went and I put my hands on it. I don't know how long I was there, but I was shown pictures of cannons and blood everywhere, and all this conflict, and I'm like, what the heck is this? Now, this is a beautiful forest. We're walking down the paths. It's all quiet. And I was kind of shaken. And I went back and they said, well, we don't usually see people do that, but did you get anything? I said, yeah. I said, it was really disturbing. It was war. There was blood. There were people everywhere. So as we were going out, there was a gentleman at the gate. And I said, what's the history of the park? He said, oh, this was the grounds of one of the bloodiest battles for Indian independence between the British and the Indians. The Indian, when they were going for freedom, it was one of the bloodiest massacres. I was being shown that by this tree, who was there.
Yes,
and it was astonishing. So the reason I say that is a non-believer of what the heck are you having me do? And I received this gift from the tree to be able to show me the images of what had happened. And it gave me such an appreciation, and I maintained it to this day, of each flower, each petal, each weed that I end up mowing. That there is such a connectivity amongst all living things. There's a reason. There is a reason why, as in India, they believe that you're always kind to everything because you never know what you're going to come back as. Right?
That's right.
Reincarnation. So you're always kind all the way down. Don't kick the dog because in another life you may be that dog.
You could be.
Right? So it is that connectivity with nature, and it really brought me there.
You know what's really fascinating too about nature and about how plants and trees and fungus communicate with each other, which is now like science is like coming out with all this information, stuff that we've known, like we knew that, but now they're actually having scientists are like proving how through fungus. And it reminds me of that movie Avatar and how everything is connected. And I really liked that movie because I feel like that's a tool for teaching others and the community and the collective that, this is actually this is what we live every day that we take for granted, how much I talk to my plants all the time. And if I'm going to trim them, like my rhodies, I hold their branches. It's time for a haircut. And I tell them the day it's going to happen. I even tell them, pull back your energy so that it's going to be an easy breezy little haircut. And like rhododendrons, do you have rhodies? You must have rhodies.
Yeah.
So if you cut them, did you know that they bleed?
No.
I don't cut them.
So you can prune them and cut them and they bleed like a red, like sap. And I started using theta on the rhodies and I went up to Creator and I said, allow me to communicate with this rhododendron right now. And I told the rhodie that it needed a haircut and I didn't want it to be hurt. I felt bad. And don't you know, after that, when I cut it, it didn't bleed.
It's amazing.
I was like, oh my gosh, it knew. It knew.
I think what it is, it's amazing the power we have. Oh, sorry, Scott. It's amazing. It's amazing what we as a being, without being egotistical, the power that we are.
Yes.
And I don't think we realize the power that we have within us because we've been put down into small spaces.
Yes.
And
Get
that's
into
through,
a box.
yeah, you're not tall enough, you're not strong enough. And we get that programmed through various systems as we grow up. But it's so important for people now to realize that the power they are. And I think that's one thing that various forms of healing, and like your theater, it's releasing all those blockages to really empower. It's not only a healing side, it's also empowering you to realize the power of who you are. And I think this is why it's so important at this time and at this time on this timeline, that people realize the empowerment that they have. We are not this. We are this and more. And I think it's really important. Now is the time to say, all that old stuff out the way. That does not work for us. And that's what I think ThetaHealing and many others doing. It's opening you up, getting rid of all that old stuff. And then it's not only healing and not transferring it on, but it's empowering for this moment.
Yes, and for all of us, each and every single one of us. I mean, our communities, and I don't like to be negative about things. I mean, we have a lot going on in our world. And I feel like all of these things are happening because it's meant to, because the greater outcome is going to be magnificent. And you can't just get there. Like there's a process that comes through these teachings, through everything that we do. And all of us volunteered. Yep, I'll go. I'm going to go with Scott. We're going together. Hey, are you coming too? All right. I'll meet you down there. And we all have this job. Things that, I mean, I don't know. If it was like 50 years ago, we would be all whack jobs. Wait, I think I'm a little bit of a whack job, but in a really good way.
Sara.
It's good to see you back, Scott.
Welcome back.
Why, thank you.
How was your trip?
Well, I had to change to my phone, so I have very limited viewing. But I know that, Sara, you need to tie this up.
And this has been a fabulous conversation. Jodi, thank you so much for all the information you've imparted. And I think that, people are going to learn from this. Anybody that watches this, I've just put Jodi's website into the chat. So please, and I will make sure if you're watching this from the video on YouTube, please, I've put all of our website addresses underneath. If there's anybody you're feeling, I'd like to get in touch, do. That's why we're here, to support people.
Yes.
So please feel free to get in touch with us. So Jodi, thank you so much. And thank you to Scott, and thank you to David as well.
And thank you, you miraculous, amazing souls, for having me on. And I really want to continue. So I hope you'll have me back. We can talk about so much stuff. I mean, we could be talking for hours. So.
No, we don't have that problem that we're going to have silences.
We'll just have, and on our next show, we'll be continuing the conversation.
But for now, thank you so very much indeed. It's been an absolute pleasure. Next week, I'm being joined by a gentleman called Paul Newman, and no, not that one. He's going to be sharing about healing with shamanic journeying. So I'm looking forward to that. That's sort of an interview that Paul will be doing with me. And we'll be back to today's conversation in a couple of weeks' time. So I hope that you will join us for that as well. Take care, folks. Be safe. Stay
Thank
well.
you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye. Thank you.